Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Poor Boys RC. The Tamiya Hornet EVO has finally landed here at the channel. In today's episode, we're going to unbox it, get it built up, talk about some of the cool specs, some of the cool new features in this new chassis, and weather compliant, we're going to take it for a test drive.
Excellent!
And I'm going to apologize ahead of time, guys, if my energy levels aren't quite the same in today's episode. I lost a very dear friend yesterday to a fight with cancer, bowel cancer of all things. So I never want to get preachy on this channel, but one thing I'm going to say in this episode, guys, I lost my mom to cancer at 98, and just losing a good friend at only 54 years of age, a smart guy who was just on top of everything in life, just a good human being, to something that was so predictable. Had he caught it earlier, he'd still be here with us today, and he's not here, and it sucks. So guys, as not fun as it sounds, if you haven't done it yet, you're over 40 like most of you guys watching this, it's time to book your appointment to get your butt checked out, okay? Who doesn't want a camera up the butt, right? But, you know, all kidding aside, guys, it is important. We lose a lot of good people to this awful disease every year. So guys, girls, everyone who's watching at home, do your best to get checked out, because a lot of times if caught early, it can be treated. So that's done. This episode is in memory of my good friend Duncan. Duncan, we love you. See you on the other side, brother. Now we've got a different rear end. We've got an independent rear suspension in the back. With that comes a pretty hefty price point, to be honest. It does come with ball bearings. It does come with oil-filled shocks, but you are going to pay a bit of a premium for this new design. The old Hornet had a rigid rear axle, the same rear axle that was used in the Grasshopper, the Lunchbox, the Midnight Pumpkin. I don't think it worked well in any of those kits. The Hornet EVO solves all that by using a gearbox that's used in another Tamiya kit, which also has a reputation for being very strong. And now with independent rear suspension, you're going to be able to soak up the bumps a lot better, and this thing's going to handle like a champ. The Tamiya box art, it looks so good. They always do such a great job with their box art. Inside the box, we've got this awesome packaging that Tamiya gives us. Although it's not blister packs, there's just something so special about even just this little flap right here. It just looks so good. It just makes you feel excited like a kid again to get into this build and get building this. Let's start off with the body here, guys. So a couple nice elements that it already has a pre-cut window, the pre-cut louvers in the front and in the rear. Those would be tough to do by hand, so it's nice that they come pre-cut like that from factory. And this is a Lexan shell or polycarbonate, so you're gonna have to clean this, wash it, scuff it, and paint it yourself with your choice of color. The wing. The ESC that it comes with, lovely. This is the Hobby Wing 1060. This is waterproof, brushed only ESC, good for 2 to 3S, and you can use nickel metal hydrides, lipos, or NiCad batteries. Here we've got a bunch of chassis components. Looks like a rear bulkhead, possibly front bulkhead there, our front shock towers, some other little plastic bits and bobs. Here we've got our driver figure looking good. We've got our battery tray, which from what I understand, they designed this a little bit differently this time so it won't open up on you. The chassis, our main chassis, the Tamiya ABS plastic bathtub. I think these are the new rear arms. This plastic is very different. It doesn't feel like their traditional ABS plastic. It's kind of got that satin finish to it as well. So hopefully this is something that's got a little bit of flex to it. Here we have our front C-hubs, our rear uprights. The wheels are a 3-piece beadlock style. There's a bit of a trick to mounting these. I'll show you guys later in the video. Here's the tires, guys. No tire sniff today. I'm just not feeling it. But by the looks of it, guys, these are the exact same tires that they used on the original kit that was released in 1984, 40 years ago. And here we have what I believe to be our front lower A-arms. Look how nice and wide those are. Again, with that kind of satin black material, something a little bit different. You can see the difference just even in the parts tree center section here, how shiny this is compared to these. Looks like maybe some servo mounts, steering components here. And here we've got our new gearbox, same gearbox that they used in the DT02. We've got our lovely Tamiya instruction manual. And I'm gonna say, I've had a few people in the comment section lately asking me or even messaging me saying, hey, do you think I could build a kit? Tamiya manuals are the best. They literally walk you through step by step with a one-to-one legend right here on the screws you're gonna use, the quantity of the screws, the size, you know, your pinion mounting, all that stuff, all the info is here. So if you're hesitant on building a kit, don't delay. Tamiya manuals are the best in the business and they walk you through it. It's a lot of fun. Here we have our decal sheet. Anytime, baby. I love it. Kind of a new design in the flames there too, which is cool. They kind of freshened it up for 2024. And the last thing we have is our hardware box. So just a whole bunch of screws, nuts, bolts, gears, RC bag A. Here we've got ball bearings. Look at that. We've got metal gears for our transmission. I see a pinion gear there, steel out drives. Kit came with a motor, just your standard 540 Mabuchi. Parts bag B. We've got just a bunch of hardware, some more ball bearings, some smaller ones, possibly for the steering mechanism. Looks like we have a bunch of steering components here, turnbuckles, things like that. Parts bag D. We've got our body clips and some more screws and hardware. Parts bag C. We have suspension components, oil-filled shocks, guys. Look at that. Transmission Transmission gears, looks like we have a giant chunky differential, our plastic Tamiya CVA shocks, servo saver and some shock components, more shock components, lower mounts, the perches, a little preload spring clips, and a couple different pistons so you can adjust your shocks. So 1 hole, 2 hole, and a 3 hole. That's pretty cool. And finally, the front bumper. All right, let's start building.
Boys had a dream, building Hornets fast and lean, racing through the dirt and grime, in that neon glowing prime. Now 4 decades down the line, they've got a new design. Innovation buzzes loud, EVO Hornet makes them proud. From classic roots to future sights, transform their buggy into night. With flashing lights and roaring beams, EVO Hornets full of dreams. From a simple build to sleek tech, every curve and every spec, kids once played, now fathers and sons, in the light of setting suns. Time has spun its wheel around, but the spirit can't be drowned. Reinvention fuels our hearts, turning life into an art. From classic roots to future sights, transform their buggy into night. With flashing lights and roaring beams, EVO Hornets full of dreams. Built to sleek tech, every curve and every spec, kids once played, now fathers and sons, in the light of setting suns. Sun has spun its wheel around, but the spirit can't be drowned. Reinvention fuels our hearts, turning life into an art. From classic roots to future sights, transform their buggy into night. With flashing lights and roaring beams, EVO Hornets full of dreams.
This step here seems a little on the dubious side. Make a 3mm hole as shown. I'll tell you, by the time you get that hole big enough, guys, there is not a lot of meat left on that servo saver. I can see that breaking. So a couple small things I want to let you guys know, so if you do get this kit, you'll know it. You don't make the same mistake that I made. The big one I'm going to say is the body. You can see that giant screw right there going through my Anytime Baby decal. That looks terrible. The instructions tell you the right thing to do, but me being me didn't do the right thing, because I'll tell you what, Tamiya numbers their decals from 1 to whatever, and you do them in that order. The number 1 decal, 1, 2, and 3 were on the wing. So of course I put those decals on the wing. The big Anytime Baby sticker goes right over one of the holes, and at the time I really wasn't thinking too much about it. Well, really what the manual tells you to do is to put the wing on first and then apply your stickers. So don't do what I did. Put your wing on first, then apply your stickers so you don't get a wing that looks like mine. The kit also gives you silver decals to put over top of these rails here to kind of make them look like steel rails. Personally, I like the look of the black, so I'm not going to put those on. I went a little crazy with the black. You're supposed to leave the front of these lights white, and I painted it black thinking it would look mean, but then the sticker that goes on top is black, so it didn't really work out, so I put some red and blue Tamiya stars on there, which kind of looks goofy, but whatever, it's what I'm doing. So one good thing about this kit is that Tamiya gave a little bit of foresight when it came to wheel options. So it uses this kind of standard little hub thing that you guys all know. You've seen these before. Midnight Pumpkin, Hornet, Lunchbox, they all use this. The kit also gives you a 12mm hex if you want to use wheels that have 12mm hexes, and it also gives you this sort of extended 12mm hex, which isn't really a 12mm hex, but it's going to basically act as an extended 12mm hex. If you have a wheel that has a really deep offset, it'll help offset the offset so you can run different tires and wheels. Some of the not so ideal parts of this chassis is that the front end has quite a bit of slop. You guessed it. It's not the end of the world. I think we all expect some Tamiya slop, but it's there. Just wanted to let you guys know about it. The other thing is that the balance of the chassis chassis is imbalanced. The front weighs nothing, the back weighs a ton. What that means is that the rear suspension works really well because it's got that weight to it. The front, not so much because there's just not enough weight to really make it work. You might want to throw some lead weights in there. We'll see how it performs when we take it out for a spin. And while we're talking about the rear end, the first guy that comes with a 3D printed part that'll adapt this rear end into a lunchbox or midnight pumpkin, you're going to be the man, by the way. Get on that. Last thing to talk about before we get this thing out for rip, guys, is battery size. So the battery compartment is the same as what you're used to in this chassis. It is designed to run a standard nickel metal hydride pack, your 6-cell nickel metal hydride. That's going to drop right in, easy peasy. Believe it or not, it's actually a pretty tight fit. I really wish Tamiya did something to allow for different size battery packs, LiPos for example. I tried the shorty pack that I have. Although the size of the battery is gonna fit, if you've got a pack like this that has these wires that stick up out the top, it's not gonna fit in this chassis. Now, if it's a shorty pack that has a wire coming out the side or out the front kind of thing, then that'll work, but this style will not work. I went to this battery. This is a very common pack. A lot of you guys are using these, and it's got the battery coming out the top, so I thought this one will fit. No chance, guys. I can almost get it in, but it's just way too long. It's not gonna fit. So that's pretty disappointing. This is another really common battery. I see a lot of you guys using these. You get these on Amazon. They're really inexpensive. They're pretty decent little batteries. It's a 3S though, and it's a soft case. It's actually a lot smaller than the 2S hard case. This one I can get in there. I can shoehorn it in. It's that tight. Last but not least, I grabbed a couple just small packs. This is a little 2S. I don't even know what it came from. This is a Relarlo 3S. These are small little batteries, guys. These are obviously gonna fit. Even the 3S is gonna drop in there very easily. So if you have anything that's kind of this size, that's a no-brainer. It's gonna work perfectly. Overall though, guys, the suspension feels pretty good. There's the front there, doing its thing. Not bad considering there's no weight up here. In the back, check this out. That's really nice and plush, but you can see how much travel there is in that spring. I'm only dropping it a couple inches. The kit suggested the 3-hole piston, which is what I used. I also used the oil that came in the kit. If you're gonna use the oil that comes in the kit, I'd say go with a 2-hole piston because this is just a little too squishy. Overall though, it is pretty cool having a Hornet with independent rear suspension. All right, let's go test it out. By the way, guys, you can win this beautiful looking Tamiya lunchbox. Check it out. It's got LED lights in there, a GT tuned motor. It's got full ball bearings, Metal Gear servo, nice stance, and look at that paint job, boys, girls. My wife gave this thing a coat of paint. She works as an auto body painter for a living. That's real clear coat on there. The same stuff that you have in your car in the driveway. Look at that finish. It looks phenomenal. It would be a beauty to add to your collection. There's a link in the description box below to the raffle where you can win this. Check it out.
Yes, we were at a skate park with a Tamiya Hornet. Now, while we have to recognize the fact that this vehicle is not meant to bash around, especially at a skate park, it is just not like that. But guys, I don't have that many spots to run and it's a nice day. We got some sunshine. We're gonna take it easy here at the park today and test out that new suspension. I'm really excited to see how it works. Oh, baby, let's go. Oh, these tires sound so cool. Did not want to do that. So we're just starting it off on a little 2S pack, guys. I'm gonna bump it up to a 3S in a bit. I just want to see how that suspension feels over some of these bumps. You guys saw it in the hobby room there. I didn't have a battery in when I was dropping it around. So now with the battery in, it really changes the weight characteristics and just the weight transfer characteristics of the car. You can see I'm bottoming out there and I'm only a couple inches in the air. Couple inches, boom, that's a hard bottom out. So definitely want to go with some thicker oil and or fewer hole pistons. Look at this, bam. Not too bad on the downslope there. There's something nice about a simple little Tamiya. Not going crazy. It just looks so good too, doesn't it? And the Hornet's sexy. I'm happy that I didn't put the silver on because the all black I think does look good. Just don't look at the spoiler. That's twice this year I screwed up spoilers. My Porsche 956 and now this. Ah, that was a nice one. Woo! So you hit that flat landing and it just bottoms out. But if I can hit the downslope, oh, nice and silky. Yeehaw! Yeah, this stock suspension configuration, You're gonna want a downslope on your landings, otherwise that back end's gonna bottom out pretty much every time. Front suspension's working pretty good, actually. I was kind of giving it a hard time in the hobby room there. It's working pretty good though. Let's see what she does in the big bowl here. Dancing around. The spine of death is not a good idea for this car, but maybe let's give it just a light little tap over. Just a little tap over. That's about it. We are not going for big air today, guys. It'll be a very short video. Here we go, big jump. Wow. Tamiya skid turns. Still one of my favorite things in the world. Skid turn. So 80s. Skid turn.
One thing they definitely did right with this chassis is they added that extra little bracket right there to hold on to your battery tray, because as you can see, mine would have otherwise released, well, opened up I should say, and released the battery. So that little bracket seems to be doing its job pretty darn good. Look at that.
Guys, I was thinking of running this thing on 3S just for a pack or two for a little bit, but you know what? In hindsight, I don't think I'm gonna do it. With the way the suspension's tuned, just the overall handling characteristics of this thing, I think if I put a 3S pack in here, it's not gonna last very long, so I'm not even gonna think about it. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Sorry I got a little sappy at the beginning there, but been a tough week. Lost a good man this week. So Duncan, again, this one's for you, brother. Love you. We miss you. And for everybody else watching, be excellent to each other.